Welcome to Wonkeyjase.
So the year is 2000. I've passed my open water for scuba diving. We were doing a deep dive. This is a certificate that you reach around 100-foot depth. You were not alone. You had a dive master following you to make sure you didn't come into any trouble. So 8 of us went out on a boat into open water, quite far out because we had to reach 100 foot down. There's around 8 of us who jumped off the boat and into the water, gave our okay to the ship captain, and then descended into the depths of the sea. The surface of the water was actually quite calm, and it gave no indication of what was about to happen once we reached a depth of around 20 foot, where we encountered some riptides that took us apart and spun us around in circles. Panicked and disorientated, we came back to the surface of the water, regrouped. We got instructed that the tides can run at different speeds at different depths. This we encountered several times on our dive down to 100 feet. But we weren't told of this, so it was fine now. We weren't so panicked. This is a point where I encountered my second problem. Now, I wasn't aware of this at the time, but my dive master indicated to me that I was being followed by a blue shark. Blue sharks aren't generally after human food, but they are optimistic, and when they're hungry enough, they may attack any type of mammal or aquatic creature. Nevertheless, the dive continued, and we were submerged for around 40 minutes before we decided to ascend to the top. We regrouped in a batch of 3 of us and made surface to the top, stopping about 15 meters from the top for a decompression of 3 minutes. So when you're breathing normally on land, nitrogen does not build up in your system, but it does when you're scuba diving. And the deeper you go and the longer you're submerged, the more nitrogen there is. This is why you have to do a decompression stop. This is where we encountered our third problem. We all believed we reached 3 minutes of a decompression stop, when in fact it was only half a minute. This led on to what I know now as a nitrogen narcosis. Nitrogen narcosis is where the body absorbs the nitrogen and air bubbles flows around your body. This can be extremely dangerous. In extreme cases, divers have been known to take off all their scuba gear and even their breathing apparatus, believing they can actually breathe underwater. It can impair judgment and give you the feeling of being intoxicated. So at this point, I wasn't feeling particularly well. I'd been to the gym the day before, so I thought the pain I'd been experiencing is from the gym before and a long day scuba diving. I informed my dive master, and he said to monitor the situation and call him up later if anything changes or I feel worried. 8 hours passed and I was in a lot of pain. I called up with the dive master, who told me to call the hospital directly and immediately, at which point I was rushed into hospital forthwith. I was then transferred to a hyperbaric chamber and saw a specialist doctor for diving, and when he saw the watch, the center watch that recorded the whole dive, he put me into what's called an extended 6, which is a 6-hour duration in a hyperbaric chamber plus an extra half an hour for good measure. In the hyperbaric chamber, this is a tube that takes you down to the depth you encountered the problem, and then slowly, over the 6.5 hour period, brings you back up to 0 feet. This has the effect of trying to counteract the problem you had with the nitrogen. And the nitrogen was flowing around my body, but mostly in the hip, preventing me from walking properly. The danger here lies that if it starts to move around, enters the lungs or the brain, you could die. So the treatment continued for a period of 6 months, at which point I released myself because I was fed up of going in and out of the chamber, sometimes daily, and I was experiencing a lot of problems, medical problems, feeling sick, anxious and bleeding through the nose every time I went into the chamber. I was never given the all clear. I was told if I lasted for 6 months, then the chances are I'll be fine. And I'm still here today telling you about my story. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to Wonkeyjase. And if you had a question, or did I ever go back to diving, the answer is no. So, thank you very much for that. So please share, like, subscribe and comment below and all that good stuff. And hope you listen to some more stories another time. And I gotta go. Bye bye for now. Wonkeyjase is out. Bye 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 bye.